Good morning, everyone. It's Thursday, June 10th, coming to you live from Seoul. I'm Kim Mo-kyun. Before we begin, these are the stories we're following at the top of the hour. South Korea has begun inoculations using Johnson & Johnson's Janssen vaccine for military-related personnel today. This comes as doses for just over 1 million people were flown from an airbase in the U.S. in accordance with a pledge made at the Seoul, Washington summit last month. A tragic incident struck Wednesday afternoon in South Korea's southwestern city of Gwangju. A building suddenly collapsed in the center of the city, killing at least 9 people and injuring several more, many critically. And South Korean President Moon Jae-in sets off for Britain Friday to attend the G7 summit. While in Europe, President Moon is also scheduled to meet his counterparts from Austria and Spain. Starting today, South Korea will begin using the Janssen vaccine to inoculate military-related personnel. Doses for just over 1 million people were flown from an airbase in the U.S. following President Biden's pledge to provide vaccines for Korean troops at a meeting with President Moon last month. For more, we have our Chang Tae-hyun on the line for us. Tae-hyun, give us the details.
Sure. The country on Thursday began inoculations using Janssen's COVID-19 vaccine supplied by the U.S. Of the slightly more than 1 million doses received, roughly 894,000 will be given to those working in national defense or foreign affairs in the age range of 30 to 60. Health authorities first opened reservation spots for 900,000 doses, all of which were fully booked in just 18 hours. The other 110,000 doses are reserved for people who have to leave the country quickly for government or business affairs, or are living on hard-to-reach islands where there are no doctors. Doses for those living on the islands will be distributed by Navy vessels starting mid-June. Clinical trials show that the one-shot Janssen vaccine is over 66% effective 2 weeks after the shot. As of Thursday, a total of more than 9.7 million people have received their first dose of a COVID-19 vaccine. That's 19.1% of the country's population.
Now, what about the daily coronavirus situation here in the nation? Tae-hyun, can you tell us more on that front?
South Korea recorded 611 cases on Thursday. Of those, 594 were local and the rest came from overseas. More than 60% of the daily caseload came from the capital region. 154 people are severely ill, and with 2 additional fatalities, the total death toll stands at over 1,900. That's all I have this hour, and I'll be back with more.
Thank you for that report, Tae-hyun. Now moving on, a full-fledged COVID-19 vaccination drive is happening across many parts of the world, with well over 800 million doses now administered across mainland China. The U.S. CDC also says around half of all eligible Americans have been fully immunized. Kim Hyo-san reports.
Hoping to achieve herd immunity by the end of the year, China has administered more than 808 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines across the country as of Tuesday. According to the latest updates provided by the Chinese National Health Commission Wednesday, that's up by nearly 15 million doses from the day before. China began its vaccine rollout last December, giving priority to high-risk groups and medical workers. In preparation for the upcoming Tokyo Olympics, the International Olympic Committee said some 80% of participating athletes have received their vaccines. The agency stressed that it will continue to exert efforts to have more athletes vaccinated going forward. Over in the U.S., pundits say the country's massive vaccination drive has significantly lowered the number of COVID-19-related fatalities. According to the latest data disclosed by the U.S. CDC, some 50% of all eligible Americans above the age of 12 have been fully vaccinated. That translates to over 140 million people. Uruguay has become the first Latin American country to approve Pfizer's vaccine for minors between the ages of 12 and 17. Its health authorities say that over 150,000 adolescents have signed up as of Tuesday. In Turkey, where nearly 38% of the total population has received at least one COVID-19 vaccine dose, the decision has been made to expand the vaccine rollout to people in their 20s who have underlying medical conditions like diabetes and high blood pressure. The country has been inoculating healthcare providers, essential social workers, and general public over the age of 50. Kim Hye-san, Arirang News.
The U.S. plans to donate 500 million doses of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine to about 100 countries over the next 2 years. According to Reuters, citing sources familiar with the matter, the U.S. is likely to distribute 200 million shots this year and another 300 million in the first half of 2022. It plans to donate them to 92 lower-income countries as well as the African Union. The vaccine donations will go through the COVAX facility. Sources say an official announcement will be made by President Biden on Thursday at the G7 summit. A high-level group on a comprehensive vaccine partnership between South Korea and the U.S. has been launched, a follow-up to the agreement reached last month at the Moon-Biden summit. Top officials, including those from Cheongwade and the White House, had their first meeting via video link on Wednesday. Discussions centered around cooperative measures for vaccine production, expansion of raw materials, R&D, as well as fostering human resources. While discussing ways to run the group, the members agreed to meet on a regular basis and draw up a roadmap for tasks that require bilateral consultation. We now turn to the tragedy that struck Wednesday in South Korea's southwestern city of Gwangju. A building collapsed suddenly in the center of the city, killing at least 9 people and injuring several more, many critically. Our Choi Won-jung is at the scene. Won-jung, can you tell us what's going on right now?
Mogyun, it's sure difficult to comprehend the scene of a devastation right now. We're in front of an incident where the 5-story building collapsed onto a bus, killing 9 people and injuring 8 people severely. As of Thursday morning, no additional victims have been reported, but multiple police officers and firefighters are at the scene, and it seems like they've been here all night, surveying the scene and looking for survivors. We also spoke to some local residents about what happened.
It's devastating. I hope I don't see any of the victims. That was my biggest concern. I got several phone calls while watching TV since I lived here for more than 40 years. I've never seen anything like this.
It's so awful. I often pass by here on my way to the hospital where my child works. I was worried about the safety of it, to be honest. However, I was still really surprised when I heard what happened.
Mogyun, this building collapse happened at around 4:20 p.m. on Wednesday. A few hours later, an official statement was released by the fire department reporting the first death. They found 3 more people, but they died on the way to hospital. Later at around 8 p.m., rescuers pulled 5 more bodies out of the rubble. The age range of the victims are teenagers through the people in their 70s. They managed to rescue 8 people, but may have serious injuries. The rescue mission was completed at around 8:15 p.m. last night. The officials still don't know what caused the building to collapse. A special investigation team was being created, but that has now been raised to the level of investigation headquarters to ensure a much quicker and more strictly controlled probe take place. Their work starts this afternoon. That's all I have for you now, and we'll be back with more updates later in newscasts. Back to you, Morgan.
We do hope the exact cause of the incident could be found as soon as possible. Thank you so much, Won-jung. President Moon Jae-in sets off for Britain tomorrow to attend the G7 summit. While in Europe, he's also scheduled to visit Austria and Spain for meetings with his counterparts in those countries. Our Blue House correspondent, Hong Yu, reports.
Taking off for the UK this Friday, President Moon Jae-in will be participating in 3 of the sessions to be held during the G7 summit. The Blue House also announced Wednesday that his trip to the UK will be followed by a visit to Austria from June 13th to the 15th and to Spain from June 15th to the 17th. This is the second year President Moon has been invited to the G7, but this will be his first time actually attending because last year's was cancelled due to COVID-19.
At the G7 summit, President Moon will attend 3 sessions of the extended meetings, which will be held on June 12th and 13th, to share his experience with the Korean New Deal centered around green and digital policies.
The 3 sessions President Moon will be taking part in will involve discussions of vaccines and ways to supply more of them, as well as strengthening the global health system, economic issues, and the global response to climate change. The top office emphasized that participating in the G7 will be a chance for South Korea to expand its diplomatic horizon as a world top 10 economy and a country with stable democracy. Aside from those 3 sessions, the president is also expected to meet with some of the other leaders one-on-one. But a high-level official said that there are not any arrangements being made for a trilateral summit between South Korea, the U.S., and Japan. The source added that South Korea is open to communication and cooperation with Japan, as it sees cooperation between the 3 countries as important in responding to issues regarding the Korean Peninsula and other global issues. President Moon will then leave for a 3-day visit to Austria and will in fact be the first Korean leader to visit Austria since diplomatic ties were established in 1892. There, President Moon will meet with Austrian President Alexander Van der Bellen and Prime Minister Sebastian Kurz. In Spain, Moon will meet with King Felipe VI and Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez. They're expected to discuss cooperation on stopping COVID-19, strengthening cooperation in the customs sector, and diversifying their economic cooperation. He will be Spain's first state guest since the start of the pandemic. A source at the top office added that with Austria, a leading country in science and technology, Moon will be discussing ways to strengthen cooperation in that field. And with Spain, the world's number 2 in overseas construction, the leaders will explore opportunities to jointly expand in the overseas construction market. The official also expects that both Austria and Spain will show their support for the Korean Peninsula peace process. 홍유, Arirang News.
Ahead of the G7 summit, South Korea's foreign minister has held phone talks with his Chinese counterpart. Seoul's foreign ministry says Chung Eui-yong told Wang Yi Wednesday that he hopes China continues to play an important role on the Korean peninsula. In response, Wang said Beijing is committed to improving inter-Korean ties. Chung added that South Korea is ready to strengthen mutual trust with China and build on relations as they mark the 30th anniversary of their diplomatic ties next year. They also reaffirmed their mutual goal of denuclearization and vowed to work on a visit to Seoul by Chinese President Xi Jinping when the pandemic dies down. U.S. President Joe Biden has signed an executive order that sets criteria for the government to evaluate the risk of apps linked to foreign adversaries. The move has implications for Chinese-owned sites like TikTok and WeChat. Lee Seung-jae has the story.
President Biden signed an executive order Wednesday directing the Commerce Department to review apps tied to foreign adversaries and laid out what should be considered an unacceptable risk. Biden's move will affect popular apps like TikTok and WeChat. The executive order revokes and replaces the 3 executive orders by former President Donald Trump, who sought to ban transactions with the 2 Chinese-owned sites, resulting in a prolonged legal battle. In place of a ban, President Biden's order directs the Commerce Secretary to investigate apps that may pose a risk to American data privacy or national security. The Commerce Department is then set to make recommendations for future executive orders to address potential concerns. According to a senior administration official, the move is committed to promoting an open, interoperable, reliable, and secure internet while protecting human rights online and offline. While President Biden's executive order overrides the much harsher ban signed by Trump, pundits say the current administration wants to address challenges posed by China. Last week, President Biden signed a separate order expanding on a Trump administration-era ban on American investment in Chinese companies with suspected ties to China's military. TikTok and WeChat have yet to respond to President Biden's move. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Born in Thailand to Burmese parents, Won Yi-hwa has been living in South Korea since 2016 after arriving as a refugee and even appeared on a popular audition show. Her song, The Spring of Myanmar, represents a time when children could roam free without fear, something that must return soon. Kim Hyun-sung turns the spotlight to the young artist and her message.
One sunny Friday afternoon, a girl stays behind at school to practice singing. She is 13-year-old Wan Yi-hwa, a singer in South Korea who's native to Myanmar's Karen tribe. She first grabbed national attention after appearing on a popular trot music television show. Now, she's on the rise to stardom, garnering support from the people of Myanmar.
If you go to her Facebook page, a lot of her fans are from Myanmar. Many know that she's a singer in South Korea, and she's getting a lot of likes. I hope she becomes more famous in South Korea, because it's a country famous for its music and K-pop.
As members of a minority tribe, Wan Yi-hwa's parents fled from Myanmar's ethnic persecution and settled in Thailand. But after Wan Yi-hwa's father passed away, her mother decided to move to South Korea, where she thought her daughter would have a better chance of becoming a singer. As a cash-strapped single mother and refugee, Wan Yi-hwa's mother struggled to support her 3 children. But after her talents were recognized, people started offering Wan Yi-hwa help, and she began singing on stage.
Music is my life and my friend. Since my father used to be a singer, music has been a part of me since I was a baby. Also, I'm so happy that I can make my mother happy because becoming a singer was her dream as well, and she worked so hard to make that happen for me.
Now Wan Yi-hwa is using her talents to spread hope to her motherland, Myanmar, through the song The Spring of Myanmar.
I define Myanmar's spring as a time when kids my age can just play happily without fear. Right now, I'm in Korea having a good time with my friends, but I know my friends in Myanmar are going through tough, scary times. I really hope spring comes to them soon.
Wan Yi-hwa's music teacher, Lee Kyung-ja, has high hopes for her. She hopes that Wan Yi-hwa grows to be not just a singer, but also a representative of both Korea and Myanmar and a delegator of peace. Kim Hyun-sung, Arirang News.
Welcome. It's time for The World Now, bringing you some of the most interesting news from around the globe. I'm Ji-young. One of Greece's most iconic attractions, the Parthenon, is waiting for visitors to return after renovation. Using the quiet period during the pandemic, a new cement walkway near to the Parthenon temple has been built. The ancient site has become more accessible as the new smooth artificial pathway replaced a badly eroded one.
Our ideal was to make the monument a symbol of Western civilization accessible to everybody in our society. We believe that it is not possible that the Acropolis, with all this symbolism and all these concepts and values that it contains, cannot be accessible to people who are hindered by disability.
A new lift has also been created for those using wheelchairs, but some denounced the so-called improvements, saying that they didn't respect the site's aesthetic and classical aspects. For those of you tuning in from El Salvador, you'll be able to pay your taxes with cryptocurrency because Bitcoin is now legal tender there. El Salvador has become the first nation to officially adopt Bitcoin as legal means of payment. The Congress on Wednesday passed the Bitcoin law with 62 out of 84 votes approving President Nayib Bukele's proposal. In 90 days, Bitcoin will begin to be accepted by firms when offered as payment for goods and services, with the Bitcoin-dollar exchange rate being set by the market. Bukele has previously said that the use of Bitcoin will create jobs, help address the country's low banking penetration rate, and reduce the cost of remittances. Turkish jeweler Mehmet Yüksel is squirreling his earnings away. His cash register is guarded by a loyal squirrel named Memujan, who won't let anyone but the jeweler take cash from the register.
Memokan immediately steps in when a stranger attempts to take the money and gold in our cash register and attacks. At first, I thought this was a coincidence, but when I took a closer look, I realized that it is not the case.
Along with his brothers, Memujan was rescued by Yüksel 3 months ago when the squirrel's mother was found dead. Since then, they've been living together due to an injury to Memujan's paw. But Yüksel says once he recovers, the squirrel will return to nature because that's where he belongs.
Good morning. Many regions saw the hottest temperatures of the season yesterday, but rain that's forecast from tonight will bring relief from yesterday's scorching heat. So showers might begin from Jeju in the late afternoon, then spread to the west tonight before expanding to the rest of the country overnight along with strong winds. The south coast and Jeju will receive downpours this time, so do expect up to 300 millimeters for the mountainous regions on Jeju Island, while most regions will be seeing 30 to 80 millimeters of precipitation into tomorrow, and that's including here in the capital. However, it's going to be mostly to partly sunny during the day with lower daytime highs than yesterday, but it will still be quite warm. Seoul and Chuncheon will be getting up to 29 degrees, Daegu, Gwangju at 31 degrees. So a rainy Friday tomorrow, then mostly sunny skies and warmer highs should return this weekend. That's Korea for you, and here's a look at the weather conditions around the world.
And that will do it for us at this hour on Arirang News. We'll be back at noon Korea time, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching and goodbye.